Ni hao, ladies and ladyboys, and welcome to another video where I'm going to show you how Metaplanet is so freaking undervalued, still based on their current mNAV. And all I'm just saying is maybe after this video, be convinced that they deserve another 3x from the current valuation, maybe another 5x, or even 10, maybe 12x. I'm going to let you decide that. But for that, we're going to have to do some basic math, and I'm going to jump into the sheets where I'm going to show you the deets. Okay, that was bad. But for those of you that are not familiar with what mNAV is, I put in a very simple definition there. You can just pause the video. I'm not going to go through it. But for this video to make sense, obviously, we want to be as scientific-ish as possible. So we're going to have some assumptions, which are based on today, when I'm recording this video, July 16th, 2025. And the NAV, which is the net asset value of the company, is sitting at 1.94 billion US dollars or freedom dollars. They hold currently 16k Bitcoin. Bitcoin price is at 118k, resulting in a market cap of 6.27 billion and an mNAV of 3.23. We're going to use that for our calculations, and we might adjust them slightly when we're going to do that, not all at once. But for the beginning, I'm simply going to assume that Bitcoin price stays the same, flat. It's not going to move, but the company is going to continue accumulating more and more Bitcoin, and we're going to have to see how the mNAV or the premium is going to adjust back to 1 and how quickly. And for the second stage, what we're going to do is, let's assume somehow Metaplanet is not going to buy any more Bitcoin. Just go with me. But Bitcoin price will continue appreciating in the future. And how much will that have to be for the mNAV to compress back to 1? And obviously the best case, which is the third one, we're going to combine the first and the second method. And we're going to see how fast, if they're accumulating more Bitcoin and Bitcoin is appreciating, for mNAV to go back to 1. And that's where the magic is going to happen. So, but right before I jump into the math, I need you to do something very important for me. This is a new channel, so I need you to like the video. It's going to help with the algorithm. And I'm going to cross my arms for here, and I'm going to stare you right into the soul, and I'm going to ask you to subscribe. Please. I'm going to wait. I'm not moving on. All right. Thank you. It means a lot. And with that being said, I will have to show you first my table of historical accumulation and acceleration, because we're going to need this for the calculations that are going to come, which is I need to know how much Bitcoin does Metaplanet been buying on average and how much are they accelerating their purchases, because based on that, we're going to have to calculate the future mNAVs. And as we see, we started in May 8th to 14, for example. On the first row, they bought 1,240 Bitcoin. And then on the week after, they bought 1,004, which means there was an acceleration or deceleration in this case of 19%. But that will be for another video. It's going to be too complicated to do this kind of math for this video, so I'm going to calculate the average based on a different method. So first we're going to do 1,800, for example, that they bought in the week 4, and so on. So we can get an average of 1,080 BTC that the company have been buying since May every single week. And then the average, I'm not going to go back and calculate how the difference between each weeks, but what I've done instead is I took the first 4 weeks of how much Bitcoin that they bought, which is on average 833, and then the last 3 weeks, which is when the 555 plan has started going into effect, because that means they're going to get access to even more capital than usual. And I took the average from then, which comes to 1,747 Bitcoin that they've been buying every single week, and that gives us an acceleration of 109% since the beginning of this table. And that we're going to come back to that later. With that being said, let's now go into the fun part, which is how weekly BTC purchases could push mNAV to 1 under the normal accumulation scenario. So without calculating any acceleration and how much Bitcoin that they're buying every week. And based on the math is, for example, we're going to start from July 16, which is today. And this week, they already bought. They're not going to be buying anything new. So they currently hold 16,000K Bitcoin, and they're sitting on an mNAV of 3.23 with a net asset value of 1.94. And every week, assuming they will be buying around 1,080 Bitcoin, which is the average, and they're going to have to keep buying that every single week, adding to their total Bitcoin. For example, one week they'll be holding 17K, the week after 18,512, 19,000, and so on. And assuming the net asset value of the company is going to stay the same, the dilution of the shareholders is insignificant, and any other factor is, we're just going to ignore this for simplicity. This is how mNAV is going to be going down every single week. So in 1 week, it'll be already almost at 3. And then in 2 weeks, we might fall below 3, and so on and so forth. So that in March 11, 2026, we will finally reach an mNAV of 1, which means that the company will be valued at exactly how much of net assets that they're holding in exactly 7.8 months or 38 weeks, which is insane. This is assuming Bitcoin doesn't go up and the company will not accelerate how much they're buying on average. But if we accelerate this table, let's assume now using our acceleration that they would be buying more and more and more each week, which is roughly around 7.7% weekly increases from the 1,080 Bitcoin per week. Now let's see how fast compared to the previous model are they going to go back to mNAV of 1, which was in March. So based on this model is that they're going to be buying 1,080 next week, and then 1,163, 1,253, and so on, until mNAV is going to be crushed back to 1 or even below 1 by November this year. So they can cover that, or they compress the mNAV back to the exact value of the company. So the company will not be trading at any premium in 4.2 months or in about 18 weeks compared to the 7.8 weeks previously, or the 34 weeks of the previous calculation, which is now even more insane. Well, now let's forget that there could be buy more Bitcoin, which is what they do. But let's assume they decided, well, you know what? F it. We're not buying any more Bitcoin. We're just going to hold this Bitcoin. And you hold the shares and you're like, how long is it going to take now if Bitcoin keeps going up before the company will be trading at a fair value compared to their assets, which is, we don't need a table. We don't need any complex stuff. This is a very simple calculation, which is if they keep holding exactly 16,352 BTC, then Bitcoin needs to go up to 383,420 before the mNAV compresses back to 1, which would be an increase of 223% of BTC price from today, which is, hey, it's Bitcoin. We are Bitcoin maxis here. We believe it will go eventually to $1 million. Maybe, maybe not. That's what I'm just saying is this is realistic. So even if the company doesn't perform in the future by adding more Bitcoin, they just hold and chill. They're just going to chill. They're going to wait for Bitcoin to reach 383 and 420. And then the company will be undervalued if Bitcoin crosses that price, which is insane. And now comes the magic part, which is, let's assume now Bitcoin is going up. Let me fix the camera. Yeah, let's assume now Bitcoin is going to go up, and Metaplanet, what are you doing? Why is this show's thumbs up? So let's assume Bitcoin is going to go up, and let's assume that Metaplanet is going to increase their Bitcoin holding using the chill. They're just going to keep buying the same average every day, or even the accelerated method. And now this is where the crazy part is. Let's have a look. So here, this is a big ass table. We're gonna look at the both methods combined. So combining the 80,000 BTC with the accelerated model, and Bitcoin price, I'm gonna assume is just gonna appreciate by 2% weekly compounded. So that by the end, or by week 20, where I'm going to show you how mNAV is going to be compressed below 1. By then, Bitcoin will probably, let's say, be around 176K. Do I know that? No. Could it be above that? Maybe. Could it be below that? Who knows? But just, we like numbers. This is an average. We're going to go for it. And if you believe in Bitcoin, you probably think eventually we're going to achieve this number. So, assuming that this week, the BTC price is fixed at what we started this video at, they're not going to add any more Bitcoin. But next week, Bitcoin will go to 120K. And then the company is going to buy 1080 BTC under normal circumstances. And also under the accelerated program. So assuming that the week after, Bitcoin will go to 123K, which would be freaking awesome. Love Bitcoin. And then the company also is going to buy 180 BTC, or under the accelerated program, they're going to buy 1,163 BTC. And then you're just going to repeat this table over and over and over. As you see, it's a big table. I will put this on my Twitter account or X. So if you want to read it in peace, feel free to do so. But jumping to October 22, we see that we already are gonna hit an mNAV of under 1 using the accelerated total model. And if we don't accelerate, we're gonna achieve it by November 26, which, hey, I don't know about you, but if mNAV is gonna be compressed under the normal accumulation in 4.2 months, or even if we go crazy and the acceleration, because Metaplanet just keeps exceeding our expectations, they will compress mNAV back to 1 in 3.2 months. That's insane. I don't know about you, but that is insane. So what does that tell us? What does that tell us about the business? Well, nothing. No, I'm joking. Obviously, it does tell us a lot. So this is where it gets juicy. I'm just going to keep this as an open-end question. I might do in another video a lot of models where I'm going to show exactly how the share price is going to act. But I'm going to ask you now, what do you think Metaplanet Stock should do? Do you think it deserves a higher mNAV because they will be able to cover the current mNAV so quickly, even in 3 or 4 months? Or maybe they should maintain their current mNAV and it should not shrink even if the company keeps buying more Bitcoin and Bitcoin keeps increasing. People should give in the company even more premium, because when our mNAV compresses back to 1, the company will only hold maybe anywhere between 30 to 50,000 Bitcoin. Their goal is 210,000 Bitcoin, another 5x. So based on that, you do your math, you come up to your conclusion. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'm gonna end it with a funny meme that I found today. This is my favorite meme that I saw today, which shows Jay Powell with Trump commenting on him, because I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news, but Trump has been thinking about firing JP, or Jerome Powell is thinking about retiring. And Trump was like, oh, he's doing a bad job. I don't know who put him in power, because in 2017, Trump nominated him. And the meme says, it is my honor to announce my nomination of JP to be the next chairman of the Federal Reserves. And today, or it was yesterday, Trump was like, I was surprised when Jerome Powell was appointed. Life is a simulation. With that being said, ladies and lady boys, I'm going to end this video. And if you haven't written a comment, but you just watched this video, and if you have not subscribed yet, stare of guilt. All right. Thank you.